Professor Hamadi, thank you very much for joining us. Can we really call it now a plague that Kenya is seeing?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. And what we would, I don't know how to describe it, because there are certain terminologies that apply to a specific field. But what we had was a serious infestation and invasion that we haven't seen in 70 years. And it concentrated mainly in the drier parts of the country, which is northern and northeastern Kenya. The locusts were coming in from Somalia and Ethiopia after traversing all the way from Yemen and Oman there. And they arrived here on 28th of December, and we've been battling them ever since. Up to now, we are still battling them. They have gone through 2 generations. So they came flying as adults, they laid eggs, these eggs hatched and became adults again and flew again and lay eggs. So we are in the 2nd generation, which has begun to fly this week again.
What has been the consequences of having these locusts ravaging through some of the agriculture in Kenya? Professor Hamadi, if you are there, what has this meant in terms of agriculture in Kenya? We understand that they feed on crops. What has this done to your agriculture?
There hasn't been an impact on agriculture per se, because they arrived into the country when we had already harvested. And then the parts of the country that they invaded are really not agricultural per se. They are pastoralist areas. So mainly they have been feeding on the pasture in these northern Kenya, which are arid and semi-arid areas. And where they have attempted to go into agricultural areas, we have had a very swift response to spray them and make sure that they are contained. So I wouldn't say that there has been a major impact on our agriculture because of the 2 reasons. First, they came when we had already harvested. Second, they confined themselves mostly to northern Kenya, which is arid and semi-arid and mostly pastoralist lifestyle. And thirdly, we were able to contain them through the efforts of the government, the county governments, the FAO, and the Desert Locust Control Organization. We've had a very serious operation up there.
Are you worried about food security in Kenya?
No, not at all. I'm not worried about food security in Kenya. We've had good rains, and the farmers, even in the COVID environment, we encourage them to plant, and we have protected the croplands largely. And for the northern Kenya, which are pastoralists largely, we are putting in place livelihood support program so that whatever impact the locusts would have left in those areas can be mitigated.
So you can safely confirm this afternoon that even though you've gone through the 2nd generation, that you are winning the fight against the locusts?
We are winning the fight against locusts. Most of the areas that we have cleared are free of locusts. And right now they are confined into the northwestern part of Kenya around Lodwar and Marsabit on the border with Ethiopia. And we have a very serious operation there going on with our partners. And I think we will be able to contain them.
And a final question to you, just to please expand on that. You did mention that Ethiopia and Somalia have also been hit. Have you coordinated efforts in terms of fighting the locusts, and what fruit has that borne?
Most of the coordination has been through FAO, the Desert Locust Control Commission, and the Desert Locust Control Organization and the African Union. Most of the coordination has been around fundraising so that we all have resources to contain the plague, so that we don't let it continue multiplying and spreading, so that each country can do its part, sharing information, sharing technology and data. For example, through FAO, We have an app called the locust 3M, which is used to collect surveillance data and then used for forecasting so that the other countries where the locusts could be headed are forewarned so that they can prepare themselves. But each country, as part of the regional effort, was required to do its part and in fighting this plague. Some countries, of course, are challenged with resources and conflict, so they might have not done as much as we would have expected. But I think by and large, all of us have been in discussions, either on Zoom or physically when that was possible, to share notes and compare strategies so that we can contain the situation together.
Professor Hamadi Asante, that was the Kenyan Agriculture Ministry's Principal Secretary, Professor Hamadi Boga.